All right, welcome back. It might not look at it, but I finally got everything cleaned back up a little bit in here. Seems like I spend more time cleaning than I do anything. But I got the honey supers. We're gonna extract some honey. This is the last of 2025 honey. These supers on this side is from the home yard, and these supers back here I just pulled from the other yard, the Milby yard. So I pulled everything off. So whatever was on there came off. So some of them are empty, some of them are half full, not half empty, half full, and some of them are full, and there's different, you know, some of them's capped, some of them's not capped. We're in north central Kentucky. We're a little bit south of Louisville, and here where we're at, the early honey is a very thick honey, and a lot of it can be extracted uncapped. It's just a 15-16% moisture honey. If you got a refractometer, you can check it and see what the moisture is, and as long as it's below 18%, it's okay to extract it. This later honey won't be like that. So the plan is today, I think what I'm going to try to do, this has been sitting in here the longest, so I'm going to go ahead and start pulling some of that, and we'll be extracting capped. Probably anything over 80% capped we'll be extracting today, and the rest of it I'll leave in here. I'll get the dehumidifier going later, and we'll extract that once we make sure that the moisture is down a little bit. So we're going to get started and see what we can do. We're just going to start with the top. We'll get several of these on our cart. These little carts are good for my Harbor Freight. Got the small one and the big one. My wife, I think I was asked for the big one, that one over there, if you can see it. I think I asked her for that one on my birthday last year, and she got me the little one. And I said, well, I'll just send that one back and get the big one. And she said, no, I'll just keep it and go ahead and get the big one too. So that's what I did. Oh my God, that's a deep there. A full deep. But they're nice. These carts are nice because you can lower them at the height that you want them. Easier on the back. This blue top, if you remember, if you've been watching, this was the top to our first cell builder we built earlier in the year. I ended up putting a queen in it, in the bottom, and then putting a queen slitter over the top, which meant they could only put honey up here. There's a frame, it's not quite ready. I think the rest of these are in pretty good shape. Alright, it's heated up now. Where these had 10 frames in a box, the wax cappings don't stick out as far, so you don't get every single one of them like you do. You see how it's leaving those, and it's leaving that whole side. We'll use a capping scratcher on that. I had some comments of why don't you cut down like that, and while you could, I'm blocking my vision with my knife, and I don't have as much strength that way. You got more strength pulling up, so I always pull up and cut the caps off this way. Another good full frame of honey. It's hard to tell in these darker frames how light the honey is. The honey looks dark because it's in a dark frame. The frame is dark. The cells in this frame are dark because it's had cocoon spun in it. There's a queen cell holder where I put the queen cell in there. But you can kind of see the honey coming off the knife. It's pretty light honey. That's nice. But if you just got a couple frames, we'll put them on opposite sides in our extractor so it balances out. I don't drop it. Alright, we went ahead and got 9 frames out of that deep. This is some of the frames we're looking at in our shallow. They're not ready to be extracted, so we're going to leave them in here. Alright, we're going to set these up for airflow so we can get the fan to blow through them. So we'll just make a stack, set it crossways on the outer cover. I'm going to make that stack for boxes that's not capped so we can dry it out. Getting back to these, it's getting a little lower now so we can just pump it up. Get it up here where it's nice and convenient. And then we can go through these frames and see what we got. There's a pretty frame right there. That's one you want to extract. Right there. So we got 9 deep frames in here. Got 18 slots. We're going to fill it in with 9. I think these are medium. That's a really good one right here. Hot knife's getting most of it, but not all of it. This is what we're using to check the moisture. And we can just put honey on that screen and close it up and look through, and it'll tell us the moisture content. I'll take one off to the side. And we'll see what this uncapped honey is. $19.2, so we can't extract it. It's almost 20, so it's too thin, so we have to dry it out too. Too thin to extract. If you do extract it like that, I forget that some people are extremely new. Our audience is anywhere from advanced to beginner beekeepers, and for anybody that's new, if you extract that above 18%, it'll ferment in the jar. And what will happen is your jars will start building up pressure, air pressure, and will blow Won't necessarily blow the lids off, but it'll start leaking honey down the jars. First thing you'll notice is your jars get sticky because the pressure's pushing the honey out. And they say if you ever eat fermented honey, it'll turn your stomach to honey for the rest of your life and you'll never like it. So it's not something you want to have happen for you or for anybody else. But yeah, there's a big difference between honey in early in the year and honey late in the year. Here's a better looking frame. Now that one should test better. We'll go ahead and test it. Now this is capped honey. It's 18%. It's not done too high, but it's 18%. See that? There it is. About 18.1. Might have to run a humidifier on all of that. That's, oh, I know what the problem is. The honey's hotter than the tester. The tester, your refractometer and the honey has to be the same temperature, and I pulled that off this morning and it's hotter. Honey is thinner at hotter temperatures, but if your tester is the same temperature as the honey, it'll still read correctly. If it's not, it won't. The other honey's been in here for longer than we got out of our yard. Alright, I finally got a full extractor of mostly capped honey. We have the Hilco 18 frame extractor, and we can usually turn it up to about, we gotta turn it on first. Usually turn it up to about 25 to get started, and it goes up to 50. Kind of see how much vibration you get out of 25. There's a lot of weight in there right now. Alright, it's pretty smooth, so we're going to try 30. I said it's smooth, now it's starting to jump. Not too smooth. The only complaint that I have, or most people have, is that knob. This knob is very small, and when that starts jumping around like that, there's 26. I'll try it there for a minute. When it starts jumping around like that, it's hard to grab that knob because it's so little. You can hopefully see that slinging out to the side. Slinging honey on the side of the tank. See a little better on this side, maybe. I get some of that weight out there, and then you can go on and turn it up. The frames are equal weight, but the honey in them right now is so much that it's got it off balanced and out of whack. So you got to work it up a little bit at a time. This is the first of the last batch of honey. Still getting light honey. Been light all year. It's unusual. We'll see if it gets any darker. Usually it darkens up by this late in the year. We'll see what happens. Alright, we're back in the honey house. Today we're trying to finish up what I think is the last of 2025's honey crop. We've extracted all of our capped supers and capped frames, basically, because some of the supers had half and half. But everything that was fully capped, we went ahead and extracted and got it done. And then we went on vacation to Portland, Oregon to see our son out there in Portland. And we was gone for about 5 days, and we left a dehumidifier running in here the whole time. So anything that's uncapped, which is a lot of what this is uncapped. It is, I've checked it, some of the most uncapped frames is down to about 16% moisture, so the moisture is good. So today, that's what we're going to be doing this evening, is extracting uncapped honey that we've dried down. I've had it warm. What I do in here, I've got a totally sealed room and insulated. I keep the dehumidifier running and keep it warm at nighttime, and then in the mornings I come in here and turn the air on. It cooled off, but the honey's thick enough that it's still dry and warm, so we can extract it. So that's what we're up to and what we're doing. All right, first thing we're doing is we're plugging in. Got a good heavy cord for my wax melter. We're gonna plug it in, get it warmed up. Got quite a bit of wax melted already. We need to clean off. Got to get it warmed up so I can clean that out. I can clean that slum gum out, the black out, and let it finish melting that. And then we've got some more wax over here in our tank from our cap supers that we've done. That'll go over there here directly. So we still got a little more room, and we'll go ahead and cap into this one until that tank gets warmed up, where we can clean it a little bit and get some of that out of there before we put more into it. I'm gonna go ahead and clean these screens out. I go through a nylon cloth. This tank's about half full, but you like for it to be good and dry, and we haven't been in here. It's been probably a week and a half since we was in here with our other. But it's got a little bit of grit on it, so I'll go ahead and spray it off, and it dries pretty quick. Wasn't too awful bad. We keep 2 tanks going, these nylon cloths, so you can pour about probably 4 or 5 buckets through them before they start getting clogged up with the fine grit. So this one's ready to go with a new cloth. This one's pretty clogged. Try to get 2 shallows. Holds 18 frames in the extractor. So I try to get 18 shallow frames to put in there. And again, you can see a lot of these are not hardly kept at all. But again, I've checked the moisture, and the moisture is about 16%, so we're good. Good to go. So a lot of these frames being light, it's probably going to be difficult to balance this extractor good. That one's got one side is capped. But you kind of try to keep the heavy ones across from each other and the light ones across from each other. Another one there, it's capped on one side and not capped on the other. Use a capping scratcher. It didn't come all the way out. Alright, so we'll put this one across from that other fairly heavy one. Try to balance it up a little bit. Alright, this is a light one. We got light ones on the other side. We'll put it there. That's fairly light, but it's got a little bit of weight to it. We'll put it there. This one's got some weight. Debating, bees are going crazy out there right now. A lot of people are, that one's pretty good full frame. A lot of people are still bringing in a lot of honey. I went ahead and pulled all my honey off to let the bees take the rest of it. But it's really, the flow is really held up good. They're out there today kicking it. Bringing something in heavy. Well, I say something, I know what it is. It's a clover. There's clover everywhere. I need a bush hog out there, but I hate to because of the clover. We got a field full of clover. But yeah, I might put some of these empty supers back on a few hives just to see, because I know they're good. They was pretty good anyway. There was a few. Some of the outside frames wasn't filled all the way. So I wanted them to get their boxes good and full for them for the winter to cut down on the feeding. I'm pretty sure they've had time to do that. And I've got wet supers, so I could put them these wet supers on there and maybe get a little more honey. They might not be able to cap it, but I can bring them in here and dry them out. If you've got a dry honey, I've seen people dry it. You can take a tank with a slow turning agitator and you can dry it out once it's extracted, but it's a whole lot easier to do and when it's in the comb. It's already, you know, broke down in the comb. Makes it much easier to dry it out. Usually I'll leave it 4 or 5 days, and like I say, I left it 5 days this time, got it down to 16%, so this will be some good thick honey. Alright, we'll just close this up. Alright, I've got it plugged in, so I just turn the auto stop. Hit my off on button. And then we'll turn it up. I usually start on about 25. I can see it coming out, so we're good. We first started extracting honey, that's all we had to uncapped with. We did that for several years. A few caps on this side. All these boxes, once I get done with them, usually either put them back on the hives or let the bees clean them out. And then I'm going to bring them down here and clean up everything and get them ready for next year. And then put something on them to keep the wax moths out of them. Usually I use mothball or moth crystals. It's paradichlorobenzene is what you use. Don't use naphthalene. Paradichlorobenzene. If you keep it on them, it will dissolve. But if you keep it on them, it'll keep the wax moths out of them. All right, when this bucket gets, I was gonna say full, but I don't like picking them up when they're full, and it needs to be below the double screen. So when it gets about half full, we take this bucket and put it into that, we're gonna put this one into that far tank. This tank is almost full. Those frames are ready to go into the extractor, and that one has probably 5 gallons in the bottom of it. So we're gonna dump this this bucket of honey, half a bucket of honey, into that tank as the next step. All right, it's like I say, this uncapped honey got down to 16%, so it's very thick, and the thicker it is, the longer it takes to go through this nylon cloth. So that's why we got two. We can let one bee drain in while we're working on the other one. But that tank's almost full. So the next step after this is to take a good clean bucket and run a bucket out of this tank, and then we can either put a lid on it and keep it for later, or we can go ahead and put it in our bottling tank is the next step. So we'll go ahead and run a bucket. And it's going to come out with a little bit of pressure, so you got to be careful. Sometimes it'll shoot way out here, and sometimes it just barely dribbles out. Yeah, it's so thick it ain't shooting out very far. But like I say, you never know how far that's going to come out, so you just got to be careful with it. Well, it finally got darker. We got some darker honey. I know it's got a lot of clover in it, and probably some tulip poplar maybe, I don't know. Probably some persimmon, and the only reason I know that is because some of the guys around here had their honey tested, and it had a lot of persimmon in it. So I run it, if I'm gonna dump it, we'll put a lid on this one. If I'm gonna dump it, I don't run it this full. If I'm gonna put a lid on it, I get it perked near the top. If that's the last step, that's a good clean bucket of honey. I always check the moisture on a bucket before I close it up. And then if I've got some buckets over there, it's 18%. And if I got a bucket that's 16, like I think this is, I can mix it with my 18 and get it down a little bit. Just put that on there like that. I can tell it's thick already by the way it's going on there. See if we can see this. Yeah, about 17 and a half. Not quite as thick as I thought it was. Got our bucket lid on there, and then we always put the date, day 7/3. 25, 17.5%. All right, I appreciate you watching. There's a ton of brood out there. I'm worried about them swarming. One of the things that I think I've said it before, but I think we have a lot of bees that swarm in the July, and we just don't know it because we're not out in the hives as much. But I'm worried about them swarming, having enough room to put everything. So I might give them some supers and let them see what they'll do with it. Anyway, I appreciate you watching. God bless y'all, and I'll see you on the next video.